The Yu-Gi-Oh manga is fucking crazy, and my house is a goddamn mess. I'm not moving, it's just getting worse. So I've been reading the Yu-Gi-Oh manga lately because I wanted to like see the differences between between like the show and the manga, because I knew there were some. There was an OVA, I think, before the show that came out and became the show. It was really dark. Yugi like gets a guy to Yugi gets a guy to like jump off a building or some shit. But yeah, I wanted to see what the manga was like, and I'm on like chapter 23, and there's barely any card games. Card games, Yug. There's another series called Yu-Gi-Oh! R, which I think is more for the card games. Because so far there's only been one. It's been Seto Kaiba and Yugi. Their fated first duel. But it's a little different. Kaiba doesn't steal the blue eyes and rip it in half. He just like steals it and tries to replace it with a copy. And then Yugi duels him on a table. And they're just playing like normal, except it's a shadow game. And the monsters start coming to life for real and not with holograms. And Kaiba just kind of pulls the blue eyes out of his coat pocket and is like, I'm gonna summon this, I have it, it's my ringer, because Yugi gets summoned Skull out and is starting to win after a while. So you know what, Kaiba was kind of cheating. But then the blue eyes won't attack the summoned Skull because they were real life magic monsters. And the blue eyes was like, nah dog, you ain't Grandpa Yugi. And then he like destroys himself because that's the only way he could fulfill his duty to Pep. But other than that, it's just been a bunch of other games that Yugi comes up with on the spot. And they're pretty dark. Like one of them involves escaped convict holding Taya hostage at a burger joint. And the game is Yugi and this man can only use one finger on one of their hands. And the guy's got a gun, so he picks his index finger, and Yugi's like, all right, I pick my thumb. What nobody sees is that he's got a lighter in his hand, and the escaped convict hadn't smoked in years and was jonesing for one. So Yugi gives him one, and actually I don't know how he got the cigarette in his mouth. They can only use one finger. But Yugi gives him a light, and then he's got his hand like this, and he kind of cheats because he moves his fingers to sort of let go of the lighter. And it's on the guy's hand that's like holding the gun at Yugi or whatever. And then somehow there's like a bunch of vodka that gets knocked over because the guy had been making all these weird demands. And children were the ones getting him the cigarettes and vodka. I don't know how that works. And basically the guy ends up knocking the lighter down and it goes into the vodka and like fucking burns everything. Oh, because the game started when he was like still pouring it. So the cup was overflowing and he had to like the hand that had the vodka had the lighter on top of it. He's like, oh fuck, I can't move this hand because I'm not allowed to move, and I can't pull the trigger because the lighter will fall and kill everything. And it did. So that guy probably died. And then another time Yugi was playing ice hockey on a big grill with some explosive vial in it, and they were smacking the ice puck back and forth as the grill was turned on and heating and melting the puck. And like there's some cool strategy in these games. The guy was a big beef man and could smack the puck really hard, and Yugi was struggling to like send it back, but he had to, or the puck would melt on his side and he would get exploded. So Yugi did a thing where he just kind of lets the guy smack the puck as hard as he can, and they're using like grill spatulas. He turns his like sideways and lets the puck smack into it, and it kind of bounces itself back. And then the guy's like, fine, I'm gonna hit it even harder. But what he didn't know is the puck was cracked, and his smack made crack break. And then the vial exploded, and I don't know if he's dead. It was like fireworks explosions, point blank, and he was a high schooler. Those are the two that probably died in their shadow games. The rest get stuck in like illusions that prey on their greed and terrible hearts. But then they probably starve to death because they don't get out of the illusions. One guy can only see static. I forget what he was, a TV man making fake stories, getting children beat up for them, and all he could see is static for the rest of his life. Everything is just static. Oh, and Kaiba gets trapped in the Shadow Realm with monsters so that he can learn to appreciate them more because he was the same dick he always is. where he doesn't give a crap about anything in his deck. So I haven't seen him get out yet. He's still there. I'm on like chapter 23, and this duel was halfway through where it's like 10 or something. And then there's a V-Pet one, but they're not V-Pets. They're just digital pets. And it's kind of the weakest chapter because there's one with a gluttonous, super special digital pet that is, the guy is running around stealing other people's digital pets and feeding them to his. And then Yugi's and Joey's, like, they decide they want to mate them. And somehow all Joey's pet does is just kick Yugi's in the head. And then later on that helps him, like, get some of Joey's traits, I guess, because they also gave their traits to their pets somehow. It's just literal heart of the cards shit, but with pets. And Yugi's pet digivolves. Well, they actually do just say evolves, and that's what they say in Japan with Digimon. So he digivolved, and he like uppercuts the other monster, and that's kind of the end of that. Like, that was the big shadow game they had. The pet kind of looked like Yugi Mutou's evil Yami counterpart. Semi-evil. He's only killed one child that we know of, and a murderous dickhead. And he likes games and gambling and using games to fight. It's much cooler than using card games to fight. Where was I? Oh, and it ends on a somber note, though, because the digital pet is on his last day of life. They get like 21 days standard, and Yugi's like, I'm just gonna stay up with you, buddy, and that's the last panel. And then they're all over the digital pet craze, just as quickly as they got over the card game craze. Like, they both just show up in an issue, and then they're like, oh, this is a big deal, and then gone. Then I left off on a weird two-parter where a kid is like loving some Summon Skull looking superhero from America, and his dad is like paying people to let him beat them up so he builds confidence. This same kid almost turned Yugi in because they were stuck in a racket where they had to sell tickets. Oh, and the guy that lost that game, he ends up hearing his own heartbeat for the rest of his fucking life. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get hypertension and die if he doesn't go insane from listening to his heart, because he liked to force people into karaoke shows with him. So his Batsu game was, just listening to his own heart, so he could sing to his own beat and be driven fucking insane. Did I mention this series is dark? Joey, like, reunites with some bully kids from another school he used to go to, and after he goes back to their like, hideout with them, they hit Yugi at one point when he's trying to win Joey back over. And it's cool because Joey's just staring at the guy that hit him. He's like, why are you looking at me like that? Everything good? He's like, I just can't let you get away with it. And he's like, well, away with what? And then Joey punches the shit out of him. And then they all beat him up and take him to the torture chamber, which is an abandoned fucking warehouse. And they tase him. Joey almost fucking dies from it. And the lead bully was like, hit him one more time. And they're like, but he's gonna die. And he's like, so? So they're just gonna kill him. They come from like a delinquent fucking school where I guess they just don't care about tasing people to death. They're all baby high schoolers. And then Yugi electrocutes them all with his own game, and yeah. His strategies are nuts. Like, he obviously it's Yami Yugi or whatever, a Tem, slightly, in this manga, he's only like slightly taller and just edgier looking. He comes up with things just on the fly. Like, he got punched by the bullies in this situation, and as he's falling down and getting back up, he sets up a game where one of the unconscious dickheads has a taser resting, and it's about to fall into some water while he's standing on a tire, and the bullies are all standing in the water. And the game was like, hey, there's a bomb around you. You got to find the trigger before you die. And they're like, oh, I get it. We're in water. And the trigger is us with these tasers. And he's like, no, dumbass. That kid's the trigger. And then the guy's arm falls with the taser, and it's crazy. I don't even know if they all lived. Actually, Yugi might have a pretty high body count. But the best one was against Shoddy, who shows up and is just manipulating people. Like, Grandpa Yugi had a friend who gets his fucking teeth knocked out because Shoddy turns him into a zombie and everybody's beating him up to keep him away. And then Taya is left, like, on a plank as she's mind-wiped and her life is at stake, and Yugi has to solve, like, Shoddy's riddles. 3 of them! Riddles 3! And it's just cool. The riddles were actually pretty interesting, and basically the whole moral of that is, like, Yugi's like, friends matter, that's the real power. So that is definitely a thing that continues on into the anime and is a huge theme. I just want to see My Valentine. You know she's 24 and Joey's 16 when they meet? I'd like to be Joey, but I wouldn't want to be Mai. Get it, my Valentine? That took me like my whole life to figure out. So yeah, this manga is pretty awesome so far. Like I'm really liking the shadow games and the punishments that come from losing them. They're not dueling with card games to decide like the fate of everything. That's gonna come later. I mean, in this, the card game was just, it was like the digital pet. It was just a thing to make into a shadow game or something and teach the villain a lesson. Although Digital Pet Man didn't really, that villain didn't really learn anything. His pet just died and he's like, oh, all right, I can finally go to sleep now. Because he had to keep waking up to feed the gluttonous bitch. He's just like, I can sleep now, bye. Pretty sure these pets were like sentient too and they were getting murdered. But yeah, it's a good series. I like it so far. I'm hoping it doesn't reboot when Yu-Gi-Oh! R hits and it just kind of continues on, but I'm pretty sure this is like the original OVA that came out and then R is going to be like the new anime. Well, the one that's been going for 20 fucking years. More than that! Kill me! In Minecraft. Oh, shut up.